when you signed up for this was a 6-year term, and you should be showing up to work.
You know how many votes John McCain missed when he was carrying out that furious comeback that you're now modeling it under?
He wasn't my
No, Jeb, I don't remember.
senator.
Well, let me tell you, I don't remember you ever complaining about John McCain's vote record. The only reason why you're doing it now is because we're running for the same position, and someone has convinced you that attacking me is going to help you. Here's the bottom line. I'm not...
Oops, so much for what was supposed to be a gotcha moment by former Florida Governor Jeb Bush. He hoped to drop a political sandbag on the head of Senator Marco Rubio for missing votes in the U.S. Senate. So our challenge today is trying to pick out winners and losers from a big crowd on the stage last night at the University of Colorado. Good morning, Dr. Ben Voth, SMU's Director of Debate. That was not a good night for Jeb Bush.
No, I have to agree. I think that was pretty poor performance. I definitely had him scored near the very bottom, and that exchange that you just saw there, I think, was a great indicator of that. I think he really thought he might steamroll Rubio, and Rubio, I think, was very effective in the rebuttal and the sort of the counterattack. It was kind of a sad day for Florida Republican politics to have a Republican governor going after a Republican senator, and then for it just to go so badly.
Yeah, and Bush, even as Rubio was responding very forcefully, very convincingly responding, Bush looked away, put his hands in his pockets, folded his hand. I mean, the body language was even uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't feel like Jeb Bush really wanted the argument he just announced minutes before. He just wanted to walk away from it.
So there are lots of ways to ask a question. If we're talking about the economy, I could say to you, please explain your economic plan in 1 minute. Or I could say, your economic plan really doesn't make any sense, does it? And that was kind of the tone last night by the moderators from CNBC. But if you're running for president, you should be able to take that.
I do think you should be able to take that, but I have to admit, I think as a debate purist, I think the moderator conduct last night was embarrassing.
Really?
I think it really does not dignify the concept of a debate. I've moderated many, probably hundreds of debates myself, and never thought I needed to correct the debater. The debaters can correct each other. Right. That's not my job as the moderator.
So this was a pretty partisan crowd. Even in Colorado, at the University of Colorado, it was obviously a Republican crowd, obviously a conservative crowd. So we saw the attack on the mainstream media by Ted Cruz. Take a look at this one.
You know, let me say something at the outset. The questions that have been asked so far in this debate illustrate why the American people don't trust the media. This is not a cage match. And you look at the questions. Donald Trump, are you a comic book villain? Ben Carson, can you do math? John Kasich, will you insult two people over here? Marco Rubio, why don't you resign? Jeb Bush, why have your numbers fallen? How about talking about the substantive issues people care about?
No, but that's like, with that partisan crowd that does not like the mainstream media, that's throwing red meat to them. The question is, those candidates have to rise above each other.
Right. Right, and I think that was a devastating critique of the line of questioning thus far in that debate. And interestingly, now that we've had 3 debates, I think Ted Cruz has positioned himself as essentially the moderator of a debate between the journalist and the Republican candidates. And he did, I think, reframe the debate last night, and it took a totally different path after that.
Who stood out to you, and pick a couple names, and then who just faded?
Yeah, to me, I think it's pretty evident, and I think we've got a pattern, like I'm saying. I think we now can see that Rubio, Cruz, and Fiorina are strong, consistent performers in these debates. I think at the bottom, I think you have to put Jeb Bush, I think, there. I didn't think that Donald Trump was all that decisive. I thought his closing statement was good, but other than that, I don't think it was very good. I actually thought that Carson was kind of weak last night. He looked sort of tentative and uncertain as well. So I would kind of put those 3 kind of at the bottom and those other 3 up at the top.
Yeah, and it's tough when you've got that many people all up on the stage.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We've got more to come here on Good Day at Texas.